I'm not thankful enough for you. This time, can't you see it's not really me when I let you down? You're counting on me, I can see. I won't let you down. Our world is angry with no compromise. Nothing is real and no more surprise. We are all one. Open your eyes. We fight for God, yet forget the prize. Can't you see it's not really me when I let you down? Counting on me, I can see. I won't let you down. Can't you see it's not really me when I let you down? Counting on me, I can see. I won't let you down now. Hello and hello. Welcome to another. Why do I say that every fucking time I start this fucking thing, man? I think about it every time that I'm like in the middle of saying it, and I never fucking stop saying it. And this is the whole intro that I usually do. Welcome to another episode of One by One. Who the fuck does that? Some professional sounding motherfuckers. Some shit. Well, I want to be professional, okay? I want to get the fuck out of this unprofessional day job that I do. It's not very unprofessional. I mean, I work in a law firm. You can imagine how fucking boring it is to me all day. But I'm in transition. I'm in a transition stage. That's how I like to talk about it now. No, I transition. What the fuck? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, Captain. No, but for real. It would be very cool if it did. Tonight. That's the Billy Corgan. Billy, if you're listening, which I'm sure you're not. Oh, that's drop day. Hold on. Well, the rest of it's kind of out of tune too, dude. Ooh. That's what happens when you leave your guitar sitting for weeks at a time without plucking her. What the pluck? That's the Billy Corgan chord change thing. I don't know what the fuck. Right there, you know what I'm saying? I think it's pretty cool. I still do it in my shit today, these days. I don't know. I don't even remember what I was fucking talking about, but Billy Corgan came up and I had to do the little... Oh, that's what it was. Tonight. So tonight is October 1st. The beginning of Sober October. For those of you who want to add the T. Some of us don't. Some of us do. Which Doug Stanhope is going to join in on this year. But late. Because, you know, kind of got to wean yourself a little bit when you're drinking heavily or doing anything, more than you should be. It's kind of like if I ever stop smoking a reefer, I'd have to slow down a little bit first. I think. I don't know. A lot of people could just quit that shit. I tried. But anyway, so this is going to be a fun month. There's lots and lots of photoshops and artwork that are going to be done, which is very cool. Last year was fucking cool as shit. There was like, on Instagram and Twitter, there's so many people that love, Rogan and the podcast that he listens to or, is on and has people on. So, like, and it's hard to get those dudes to, like, notice your shit. But it's easier nowadays. You just gotta know the right fucking hashtag to put on that shit. You gotta know the right people to fucking tag on there. And they'll see it. If they're running their social media, they'll see that shit, But there's a bunch of dudes, and we're actually... one of the guys, I think he works with Bert a little, and he does photoshops for pretty much everybody, though. It's basically everyone. Chase Leopard, shout out. He started a big little group on Instagram with a bunch of us that do all this Photoshop and drawing and digital artwork and shit like that, and it's pretty cool just to go back and forth with these dudes. When I have time to fucking do it, it's like I'm so fucking busy, man. If I didn't have this goddamn day job, I could do so much more. I could talk to my friends. But so we're going back and forth, communicating, trying to like coordinate things that we're posting and stuff, and really make this fucking month crazier than last year. But also, besides all that, midnight tonight, October 2nd, Joe Rogan, Strange Times, premieres on Netflix. Motherfuck. And yes, I mean, I don't know if he's going to actually post it or not, but I've done a shitload of the posters for him throughout the last, year and a half, because he's been doing the Strange Times tours since fucking Trump happened and shit. Maybe even before that, I forget. Probably before. I think before that. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But he emailed me today and asked for something for the special that's coming out tomorrow. So luckily, I had already done a shitload of work, and I took a bunch of the pictures of him as somebody else and cropped them out and put them all together like one collage. So hopefully that gets posted. I want to see it, man. No, it's cool. I posted it months ago, and don't even know if he saw it, but that's how shit fucking works, man. Sometimes you just don't fucking see shit, you know? You got a lot of fucking motherfuckers trying to get a hold of you. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I'm not like that. I'm not in that position right now. But, you know, shit happens once in a while. But, strange times. Strange times they be. Even when you're fucking... Let's not get into that. This episode is brought to you by Hike Moab. Hike Moab. You know, HBO decided to remake Westworld. Make it into the great TV show that it is right now. And I cannot wait for the next season. I have to finish the last one. But, you know, that's where they filmed that shit. Over there in Utah. Moab. All those beautiful fucking mountain areas and the desert and the fucking red rocks and all that kind of shit. I don't know. It's not red. I don't know about the red rocks. But they are, a lot of them are red. Anyways. If you're out in Utah and you want to go on a fucking hike, because I know a lot of you motherfuckers, you know, you might have listened to this podcast just because Joey or Rogan or something like that. And that's totally cool. I'm fine with that. In fact, I encourage it. So, some of you might actually be into fucking exercising. Unfortunately, I'm not quite there yet, but I look forward to it, and I look up to the people that can do it all the time. But I don't have hiking shoes yet. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. Got one pair of fucking slide-on Skechers and some black leather fucking Reeboks, and that's about it right now. Maybe some those little dress shoes I have to wear to like every wedding or like every time a client comes into the fucking law firm that I work at. Boring. Anyway, I will get some hiking shoes, okay? Because when I go on my first fucking hike, my first real hike, it's probably not going to be there. Because, what the fuck? I mean, I'm sure Micah could show me some fucking easier trails, you know? Why not? But I probably would like to test it out here. And then maybe take a trip out there. And fucking go on some hikes with this dude. My friend Michael Hatcher. How you doing, Micah? He runs that place. He owns that fucking place. Hike Moab. MoabHiking.com. And use code 1by1. Get that discount. Yes. Onward and upward. Today on the podcast, I have some dude that I saw through Instagram. Rogan reposted some shit a while ago. I'm pretty sure I followed him a while ago. I think. Pretty goddamn sure. If I didn't, I'm a fucking asshole, and I apologize. But I should have. But we were already... Pretty sure we were already friends on there. Anyway. He does incredible craftsmanship. Some hand work with metal. Mostly metal. But, you know. He made the grandfather clock for Joe Rogan in the studio. He made the one that went into the Fighter in the Kids studio, and who knows where that is now that they moved. Where's the clock? That should be should be a shirt. Where's the clock? Because, you know, those guys got a shirt for every fucking thing. I need to get on shirts. Somebody help me with shirts. Fuck. I have so many ideas, and I just don't know which ones I can use. Anyway, this dude is fucking badass. He's, you know, I just talked to him for an hour, and I see what he does online. And he seems like an awesome fucking dude. A great father, an awesome husband, and he's building a life for him and his family, and getting to do things that he's actually wanted to do and wants to do, and creating this artwork that turns into, you know, a piece of somebody's life. And I really look up to him, and I can't thank him enough for his time. My time. Fuck my time. His time. He could have been sitting there fucking making something badass for somebody, but he gave me an hour of his time, and I really appreciate that. So, thank you very much, my brother. Hopefully we'll meet one day, and you'll get a church clock going on for the church studio, and then once I get out west and One by One gets his own studio, yeah, you're fucking making me one too. And I'm gonna have some specifications. No, I'm just kidding. I really would just want to see what the fuck you would come up with, just based off of, you know, because I'm sure you came up with shit. I'm talking to you right now, dude. I'm talking directly at you. I'm sure you know, have ideas for different people. You know, you didn't, obviously, you told me, you didn't make the same thing you did for Rogan as you did for Brendan, and, you know, do the same thing with the church one, and you're going to do the same thing for me. Okay? Goals. I'm writing it down right now. See? Clock. Goal. Russell built. Me a clock. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give it up for the powerful Emmett Russell. Hola.
Hey, is that better?
Oh my god, that's like 100% better, dude.
Wow, man, that's good
awesome.
numbers.
Hell yeah, dude. That's great numbers. It's the numbers that I like to work with, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Well, thank you for dealing with that fucking mess, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but something like that always fucking happens to me every time I try to go and do a podcast.
Yeah, it could be me, too. It's how I work as well, so
no.
we're in this together.
Dude, it's definitely, this was definitely my, like, I just had 2 iPhones all of a sudden just not fucking work when I plugged in the headphone jack. It would just play right out of the speakers, and then all of a sudden, I didn't even go outside to check this little piece that I was telling you about. I just tried it on the other phone, and it worked. So I'm just going with it.
I went with the Bluetooth option. I bit down and bought the Beats wireless, and I have not looked back. So,
dude, if I could, like, aren't the Beats like, they're like regular size like headphones, right? Like,
well, they make some that like kind of hang over your ears and then stick in your ear.
Yeah.
And for me, like working all day and trying to deal with clients calling, or, you know, kids or whatever it may be, and I might have my hands full of stain, or I might have, you know, a handful of screws or something, and so it just makes life easier for me to kind of maintain being the secretary and then moving on to still being able to be the fabricator as well.
Hell yeah. I fucking couldn't ask for that any more than I am right now, dude. Just being where you're at right now, like, you know, you worked real fucking hard to get where you're at, and a lot of people have seen that. A lot of people fucking acknowledge that, dude. So you got to congratulate yourself for what you've accomplished. Just being able to kind of work for yourself, you know, like.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's you know, it's definitely not easy, but like, if I was to sit here and say, well, maybe I'll quit and do something else, I don't know that I'd make it anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want me working at Home Depot. That's for sure. And, but, yeah, I love it. You know, my mom had her own business. My brother's had his own business. All my uncles, a lot of family members that had their own business. So it didn't seem like it was that big of a risk because everybody else did it, but they would tell you it's a big risk, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something you never really figure out until you're on your own.
Yeah. I'd assume it. I listened to that podcast you were just on, the Arc Junkies.
Oh, okay.
I checked that out this afternoon. So I
He's
heard
got a
you.
pretty good podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, man. It's way fucking more professional than I am over here. So don't expect nothing spectacular.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not super professional either, so we're good. You're good.
No, but I heard that you were talking about that's where you like started your shit. Was your mom had a business when you were young?
Yeah, mom's always cut hair and had her own salon, and then she's worked for her brother as well, off and on. And he had his own business, selling some cleaning products that he developed, and so I've always just seen mom kind of out hustling and always making her own way.
Yeah. You were talking about she built houses too, or was that somebody else?
She remodeled a few houses. Yeah, we had a house burned down when I was like 12 years old, and so we moved to a neighboring town and changed schools, and then built the house, and it wouldn't sell, so we ended up moving back into it. At least that's how I remember the story. And we lived there for a little while, and then we sold it, and then we moved to a super small town, Livermore, Iowa, and there's like 300 people in the whole town, and it was a big change from where I was originally.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Like, I've only moved once. I moved from like here in New Jersey to Florida. My dad had like a job he got a different job, moved down there, and we stayed there for a couple of years and then came back. But like, I can't even imagine. And then you moved also. I was reading up and stuff on that article you sent me. You moved to Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
To help with your kid, right?
Yep. My youngest is affected by autism. He's 16 now, and I'm 43, and but he was just needed the help. He was in an area where there was no real experience with autism, and that's what really counts, is the experience. And so my wife was really adamant about finding a good place and moving, and that's what we ended up doing. We moved to Columbia, Missouri, and
how long ago was that?
That was 9 years ago this summer.
Wow, does it feel that long, dude? I can't even.
It feels like a lifetime ago, really. It feels like there's just been so much done, and yeah.
Yeah, that's something I would definitely move for, man. We have a 1.5-year-old now, so it's like, every fucking fear comes into my head about every fucking thing with him, and my girlfriend actually, she works with kids with autism and stuff, like behavioral therapy kind of shit. So I hear about it, and I see a lot, and it's
sure she probably gets hit and all kinds of things like that too. Then
dude, she used to work in the field like a lot more before she got pregnant, and then now she's more administrative shit, but she still hears about everything and sees everything. But yeah, it sometimes it gets a little crazy, but it's like
it does.
That kind of work, I don't know. I mean I've looked into it. She's told me about it. It's like that's like her career. My career is like I sit in a fucking cubicle doing real estate foreclosure fucking shit, and then I make funny pictures on the fucking side, and then I have a podcast.
Right.
So
right. Well, you've worked hard to make it so that you don't have to grow up.
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I am right now. Is I get to do what I want, and I wouldn't necessarily have to grow up if I don't want to, as long as I make sure I get each project done on time.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like, you think, because nowadays I'm working constantly on projects, like things that I have to do, Do you get any fucking free time to do anything like that you actually like feel like doing or messing with anymore?
Once in a while I'll take a day. I try to work almost every day. I try to apply, like Sundays, sometimes I'll take off, but I might work like 3-4 hours to do something to apply to, the week going forward. But there's always something that comes up where it ends up where we have to take care of the kids in some way, shape, or form, or we have to, take a day off to go do something. And so I kind of take them as they come and as needed, and then just work according to, if I have a deadline that I got to meet for a client, then I always meet that deadline.
Yeah.
And so I'll just work the hours, do what it takes, get it done,
Oh, yeah. No matter fucking what, dude. It's like, I had to talk with one of the other dudes that does the Fighter and the Kid podcast, like his their artwork and shit, and he just, I don't know what happened. Like, I was already doing this kind of work on the side, but like he put it into fucking perspective. Like, dude, you're gonna have to fucking, cause he moved from New York to California, started the business. Now he has fucking people working for him and shit. So I'm like, I should fucking listen to this dude, maybe a little bit. And it was,
yeah, the people working for you thing is something that I'm not real interested in having a lot of people work for me. I don't have a problem with one or two maybe.
Yeah.
But and I got a couple of guys that work for me part-time that just kind of help me get projects done, and one helps me a little bit more involved than the other, and that's kind of been more recent as I've gotten busier. I'm trying to phase the dude into like training him what I do, and also I'm really at the baby stages of growing. Right now I build everything out of a 2-car garage, out of my home, and not even really a legit shop or anything like that. So, I got a ways to go to get there, but in about a year, I think I'll be in that position.
Yeah, man, you just gotta plan accordingly, just like you've been doing. It's not like you're not a fucking rare.
Set goals and stuff like that, all that adult stuff.
Yeah. Too bad that fucking shit didn't hit me until a couple years ago, setting goals.
Yeah.
I wish I would've. But, shit happens for a fucking reason, whatever that reason may be. I don't know. I don't know what I believe in this fucking life, but I feel like karma is real and fucking shit happens for a reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, the goals thing for the last probably 3 years, 4 years, I've been writing everything down. Not necessarily like a headline that says goals and number 1, 2, 3, 4, and but just like every day I just write down things that I know I need to accomplish. And if that thing might have to be done on, 3 days from now, then I write that down too. And I keep going back to that. I have like 5 notebooks that are completely full front to back that I write in every day, whether it be measurements, sketches, ideas, or notes with a client or an estimate. It's all in there, just kind of in order every day.
That's awesome, man. You gotta keep yourself in order, man.
That's what helps the most. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like, you listen, obviously you listen to podcasts with those fucking nice Beats earphones you got.
For sure. Yep.
But what kind, do you listen to music? Obviously you gotta listen to some fucking music. You're fucking welding some shit, right?
I do. I listen to music more now than I used to. I used to listen to like Rogan's podcast and The Fighter and the Kid and a lot of those, but I listen to music more now because I'm so busy trying to figure things out and plan that I just can't really listen to the stuff anyways. So, but I love like old school blues, and I love some old country, and I love not new hip hop, but old school hip hop, and I kind of like a little bit of everything.
Nice. You got it. I like, because whenever I meet anybody, and even Joey said this before on his podcast, if you walk into somebody's house and you see like their records laying on, on the floor or like on the whatever, you kind of get like a little bit more about a person. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What type of music they listen to?
Yeah. Get some of their psychology going on in their head. You know what I mean? You said you like old country, like fucking Waylon and
like
shit.
The staple Johnny Cash stuff is pretty cool, but I don't know if I can really name a lot as much as I type them in as seeds on my Pandora, and
Yeah.
and it just drags in all like the Asylum Street Spankers and all kinds of nutty stuff that's kind of got like a 40s big band swing band sound
okay.
to it. Just some of it gets a little corny, and I just let it play, and because whatever it drags in, it's interesting, you know. And when you
Yeah.
spend all day with the earbuds going, it's like listening to Phil Collins just gets a little old, you know.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mhm.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear? You ever listen to like anything hard, like heavy, like rock or anything like that? This band I knew did a cover of that fucking song, and that was like their intro hit to the world. I can feel it coming. That shit's good.
Yeah, I think I know what band you're talking about, but I don't get too much into the heavy stuff. You know, the standard Metallica and a little bit of Megadeth, and
Nice.
you know, yeah, I'm pretty. It seems to disturb me a little, so I just like it chill.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you, dude.
Yeah,
I'm big on like Alice in Chains, which like a lot of people.
yeah, I like
think-
them. Yeah. I got a buddy who likes Pantera and stuff like that. And
Nice.
like, there's a couple songs, but like, I always end up like kind of like feeling like somebody's yelling at me when I'm listening to it. So I'm
Yes,
not a. Yeah,
Well,
so I just usually kind of change the channel when that comes on.
I got you. It's weird. It's weird to get that perspective because like I grew up like playing music and like having a singing bands and shit. So I hearing that to me, I feel it like as if I'm the one screaming it, you know. So if I'm like working on something, I'll be fucking like getting into it like that. But I hear you. I feel like somebody's fucking yelling at you, fucking giving you an ear beating.
All of a sudden, I'm upset and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Do you I heard you're talking about using Alpha Brain and shit. Do you still use that?
I do every day. Yep.
Yeah. I tried a sample of it one time, like back when I very first started listening to Rogan. And I just, took it for like the 30 days or whatever they give it to you for. I just never continued because I don't know if I felt anything really. But
Oh,
I
really?
could have just been stoned. I don't know.
Yeah. I take it every morning. I take a couple, and my wife uses it as well, and she loves it for work.
You drink
And,
coffee too?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Does it like
Yep.
intensify? Like, does it give you that? You know how you drink like a couple cups of coffee or something, and it like you focus, you zoom in on whatever you're working on.
Yeah, it doesn't take much coffee for that
No.
to happen with me. I usually wake up pretty full of energy. Coffee just kind of, just like turbo.
What's your routine? Like your daily kind of thing during the week?
Oh, during the school year, I take my son to school every day at about 8:30. So I get up in the mornings and get myself ready, and then take care of the dogs and little things for the kids, and then I usually work on the computer, or I'll shuffle things around if I got an install that day, and until my son has to go to school, and then I take him to school, and then I usually got till about 2:30 to get back home if I do need to get out until he gets off the bus at 3. And but it could be anything from there. It just depends on what I'm building.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, with me, it's like I know that I'm gonna have certain things due on certain days, but like once in a while, I'll get somebody that messages me and says, "Hey, I got a show this weekend. Can you make something tonight?" You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me clear it with the lady, please.
Crunch jobs sometimes happen, but they're usually just kind of an interruption in the crunch job that I already have going on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I try and set up appointments when I leave the house, take Ethan to school. I'll try and set up an appointment, right after that, so that I'm out already. And then I try and shoot home and just get back to work. But sometimes I get the most work done from, about 5 o'clock till about 9 o'clock in the evening, because I'm left alone. The phone's not ringing. Everybody's kind of in the house doing their thing for the night, and I can just focus and get some work done.
I feel that, man. Sometimes I get so fucking busy. I gotta like, the baby goes to bed at like 8 or 9 or whatever, and I'm like, time for another cup of coffee. I need to stay up right now. But I feel
Yeah, I try and keep a regular routine of sleep. I'm usually in bed at like 10 o'clock,
yeah.
and
Wow.
usually, yeah, I think I don't know if I really think it's that important, but it works for me.
No, it probably
And
definitely is. I believe it. I just never adhere to it.
right. Well, if I like sometimes when the fights are on, I'll stay up late and watch those,
Yeah.
and then like the next day, I just feel like I just went out and got smashed or something, and I don't drink, so the last time I drank, the hangover was the worst thing ever, and I was like, man, I don't need to deal with that,
Yeah. I never.
And it's kind of the same thing with staying up late now. It's not really worth it.
I feel you. The feeling in the morning, like the drag in the morning, dude. It sucks. And like, whew. I can attest to the many a mornings I've woke up and had like more work to do in the morning. I feel like sometimes, do you ever get like a rush of like focus in the morning when you're like about to take the kids to school and you're like, fuck, I wish I could just be like working right now. Sometimes
I
like
do.
6 in the morning's like crunch time.
I'm a little antsy. It's tough for me to sit and wait until 8:30, to just sit and wait for the time to go by. And I try and keep myself busy with just like I said, little things. But like most of the jobs I've had before I started my business, I was at work at 6 or 6:30, 7, and working at that time already.
Yep.
And but now, I mean, the thing I always look at as well, this is why I do what I do, is so I can take the kids to school and help them out. And so I just work when I can and work around their schedules. And that just really seems to be, it's been working. So
Yeah,
we're going to stick with that.
You got it made right now for that in that area. You know what I mean? Like that's what my girl, she has a full-time job. I do the full-time job too, plus everything else. So I'm trying to like, I'm in the transition period where I'm like trying to make enough on the side to like, okay, hey, see you fucking day job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Because I would love it. Like,
yeah.
Like not just to be able to, not work. I'm going to be fucking working. I want that time to like do more work that I could be doing, but just not having to worry about taking the baby to a babysitter, every fucking day, whatever, That's the dream, dude, for me. I don't even care if I make a lot of money. I just want to fucking be able to like take the kids to school like you're doing and fucking do my thing. That's what's up, man. Do you feel like successful, honestly, yet?
I don't. I don't like. I feel like I'm on the path that I want to be on, but I'm not as far as I want to be ever. And like my whole goal is get to the shop thing. I have this goal of the shop. I've been talking about it for years, and with we've been constantly working at this, and then I think we're going to get there, but I think, well, I'll feel successful when I get to the shop. But then once I get to the shop, I got to be able to keep it. And so I don't know if I'll ever get there,
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly what successful is, but I'm able to make a living and I'm doing what I want to do as far as, the stuff I want to build, and I get to have control of my schedule. And so for the most part, I feel like I'm doing all right in what I need to get done.
Fuck
But
yeah,
I have, other goals I want to hit and other things in mind. And I mean, if it was up to me, I'd just be building metal grandfather clocks for the rest of my life, or something, metal
Fuck
art
yeah,
stuff.
Dude, that shit is so fucking awesome looking, man.
Thank you.
Seriously, like, yeah, and you're doing a lot of shit with putting the lights on it and stuff too, right? Like,
yeah, the lights, the LEDs just add drama, man.
Hell yeah.
The LEDs look awesome, and the kits aren't really expensive, and they're not hard to work with especially now I've worked with them enough,
Yeah, why not?
And so I've been adding them to all the signs and even some furniture that I've built. I built a rolling island for my mom, all out of metal, and I installed like it's got a grill, kind of like you seen on like that clock I built for Rogan's, where the lights poke through the grill.
Yeah.
It did something like that all the way around like a stripe all the way around her island, and I just think it's cool. It looks awesome, and it's
Hell
just
yeah.
a few bucks extra.
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, I think that that little touch just adds that little cherry on top. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you fucking
Yeah.
really fucking found something right there, dude. And
The last one I built, you know, when I built Rogan's clock, I didn't, like, I just planned for the lights to be in there and everything to kind of glow. But then when I shut the lights off, I realized that they cast shadows everywhere. I mean, I figured it would, but I didn't realize how cool some of the shadows could be. And so then when I built the fighter and the kids clock, I built that so that it would cast like cool shadows all over against the back wall. So
yeah,
some aspects of it you don't really get to see if you do get to see it in their studio when it shows.
yeah. Damn, dude. I'm gonna get Joey to fucking get one. He's got to get one, dude. That's fucking badass shit.
That'd be awesome to have one sitting in there, you know?
Hell yeah, dude. Just
Yeah.
I gave him a printout at one time. Him and Dean Del Rey came to Gotham in New York, and we went up there. They sold out, and like I printed out the one little poster I made of him, and just put it in a picture frame, and he fucking put it on the desk. I was like, that's fucking awesome. But now I can't see it because those motherfuckers turned the cameras around and shit. What the fuck? No. But
That's awesome.
yeah, like seriously, I would definitely get one too if I once. See, I gotta start talking the right way sometimes, because I'll get into like, if I ever move out there or whatever, you know. I've been saying it a lot more lately. Once I move out there, you know what I mean? Like, because it's gotta fucking happen sooner rather than later. But you know,
For me, it was I had to make a transition like that, going from home improvement to this custom building stuff, and
Yeah.
it was a year ago, and I built a floating staircase in a dude's house, 2 full flights.
Wow.
And it was a large project, and it was a good paying project, and so once I took the down payment on it, I stopped accepting, like, you know, I was doing like home improvement, like doors and windows and things like that. So I stopped accepting those projects, and just every time somebody would call with a sign or with, you know, some kind of, you never know. I mean, I got guys that bring me their car to run the intercooler piping and hang in their turbo ductwork and all, and just all kinds of stuff. You never know what I get into.
Yeah,
and
metalwork, dude. Yeah.
yeah, just whatever they need done, you know, whatever really just makes money. But and now it's been a year, and I haven't done really any home improvement. And you know, I don't mind going in and doing, like, you know, decorative things in people's houses, but I just don't want to be doing drywall and doors and trim and
Yeah, basic carpentry shit.
Yeah.
You know.
yep.
Yeah, I helped my uncle do some like, he was a carpenter. He had his own business for a while, and he still like did it, but he was like basically running it himself for the last I don't know how long. And I was out of one of the fucking cubicle jobs that laid you off, because my job is like one of those ones where, like, every couple of years they'll like, let's get rid of 20 people and hire like 20 more at lower prices, you know. So I've had a couple of those, but just helping them with all that kind of like little shit. I wasn't sure I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do at that time, because at that time I hadn't even started doing what I'm doing now on the side, and I knew that was not it. As
Yeah,
I'm sure you
you know,
felt, dude, because you're artistic and you wanted to fucking do something else, you know.
I always wanted to do something else, and I was always saying, like, you know, I want to build cool shit and sell it. And then, but like looking back now, I realized I wasn't really doing anything towards the thing I was saying I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And but I also look at, like, all the, you know, I've had 4 different jobs along the way, and then a few part-time jobs, and all in some kind of fabrication or welding or building cabinets or something, construction. And now I look back, and it's like all these things that I do today, that's what all this has led up to. Is I actually got paid for my education for the business that I run today. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I can look back and I apply everything I've learned along the way. And so
that's a really
sometimes
cool feeling.
sometimes you might kind of get lost in like, why am I doing this? And but if you can kind of look back and say, well, maybe I'm doing this for a reason. This is a vessel to get me where I'm going, kind of a thing.
Yeah, man. And not having fucking student loans.
I said that every time I put a fucking door in, too.
Yeah, I bet. Like, this is gonna get me where I need to be.
Yep. As I'm nailing the trim on and jamming insulation in. Yep.
Oh my God. And for me, like, I got very lucky getting to be where I am right now with the dudes that I work with, and I appreciate that, and I totally am humble about that. But it's just like, it pisses me off so bad that I gotta fucking go to this day job every day. I fucking hate doing it, dude. I open files, like any new referrals that come in, when banks don't get their fucking money. So, trust me, I got a lot of fucking stories about these fucks. So, I not that I don't ever try to do anything illegal to help people, but it's a weird
I've
feeling.
I've had those
dude.
jobs, I had a part-time job. It was MD Products. The guy's name was Mike Dick, and he was a bit of a dick. But I learned a lot from the guy, and he gave me a job. And he sure didn't mean any harm. He was a different dude. And I mean, he had a rock hanging from a metal structure and just hanging there when you pull into his driveway of the place. There's a giant rock that you could barely move with like a tractor or something like that.
Just hanging?
And he just felt like it was a great idea to drill a hole and hang that son bitch up. And that's what he did. He was something else. And but I would go work for him after my job. I'd show up with my welding helmet and gloves, and there'd be 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot deep basket, 2 of them, one full of all of one part and the other full of all another part, and then you have 2 empty baskets, and you had to take the 2 parts and weld them together and throw them in the basket when you got done, and there'd be like 1,000 of each there. And so you just show up and it's like, well, guess I'm fucking doing this for a little while, and you just start welding. And he had all kinds of projects like that, but it was a great place to go put the earbuds in and just put your head down and work,
absorb.
Yeah.
Is that where you first start listening to podcasts, or was that just music back then?
No, it was just music back then. I started listening to podcasts about. It was actually Rogan's podcast. My brother was a fan, and I'm like, I've always been a fan of fighting and listened to Rogan I love listening to him as a commentator because he explained everything really well, and I sure as hell don't know how to fight, and not the brightest individual either. So, for Joe to break it down the way he does, he makes it interesting. And then my brother was saying, like, Rogan's got a podcast, and I just then started putting together that the same comedian that came on XM Radio Comedy and fucking Joe Rogan on the UFC were the same fucking dude. I just didn't realize. I was like, how could he be a comedian and a fucking commentator? And so then I figured all that out, and I started listening to his podcast. Like, I think it was like number 120 something. It was the one about Egypt.
Damn.
And my brother said, listen to this one. And I was like, man, I don't really need to hear what Joe has to say, but whatever. And I put it in, and because I just didn't know what it was about. I was just being closed-minded, and I put the earbuds in, and man, that whole podcast just took me away. Like, they were talking about I can't remember the guy's name. It was the guy that...
The Graham Hancock guy?
Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
And, so it kind of sucked me in on that one. And then, like, Red Bands, interjections and just the O'Brien moments were hilarious. And so that I kind of got sucked in on that. And so I started listening then, and, listening to him has helped shape and mold a lot of what I do today, because I have an understanding about, a better understanding, and I see examples of it all the time from his guests and from himself, of real work ethic and real focus, and real commitment. And, and he hasn't been the only thing. He's been definitely like one of the many things, but, listen to that and just understanding the creative process, and it's just changed a lot of things for me. And then building the clock, building the clock really, like, that was my first grandfather clock and the 5th clock I ever built. And it was, he started following me on Instagram. My brother was telling him I should build something for him, and I'm like, yeah. And my brother had been telling me to build a grandfather clock, but I decided, I messaged Rogan. I go, how about if I build you a grandfather clock? And he was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And I told my brother that, and he's like, what the fuck did you do? He's like, you're building he's like, you haven't even built one yet. And I'm like, well, we're going to fucking figure it out, And
it's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, so essentially, like, I had put myself out there in a way of, like, and it wasn't just Joe Blow, it was, it was Joe Rogan. But the thing is like, I knew he fucking paid attention to his Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, and I knew it was him.
Yeah.
And so from listening to the podcast, and I was like, oh, he'll probably, he'll love it. It'll probably hopefully sit in his studio, And I had people around me that kind of doubted me for it. Were like, you know what, you shouldn't be building that. He can buy all kinds of shit. And I was like, I'm not building it for the money. I said, I'm building it to have it sit in his fucking podcast studio. That's what I want. It's like, it's better there than in my fucking basement,
Yeah.
And because that's where it'd end up if I built it and put it up for sale, I'd still have that fucking thing, And so anyways, I shipped it off, and I think he had it for a little while before he put it up. And, and then my Instagram following just went, and Twitter's kept going up, and he said it a few times on his podcast and gave me a couple shout outs on Instagram. And and I've sold so much stuff and gotten business just off of that. And it's been crazy, really, for considering I thought it was going to be cool just for him to have it. I didn't really know if I'd get anything out of it,
Yeah. Well, he's, I've been, going back and forth with him for a couple of years now, and he always seems like a cool fucking dude. He's always like, hey, brother, in his emails and shit and whatever, back and forth, And I feel like he's that kind of guy, He just wants to help people out. Especially, it's not even like you're like he's helping you out. He is, but like he can, he can get down to it. He can afford to fucking be like, hey, yeah, fucking build me one of those fucking things. They look cool as shit, And then you do it, and then what happens. You fucking take it and you run with it, And I would have never built it if it wouldn't have been for that. How did the fighter and the kid one happen? Did you contact them too, or did they ask you?
Yeah, I did. I was listening to them one night out here working, and I heard Brendan talking about they were getting a new studio, and I hit him up, and I was like, hey, love to build you a grandfather clock for your new studio. And he was like, fuck yeah. So,
that's awesome.
It took longer to build his. We went through that, some medical stuff with my kids, and it just really, like, everything else kind of took over. So I had, I was more concerned about making money, but I come out here on Sundays and Sunday nights and some evenings during the week and just, and make progress on it. And then I got a job or something that, couple jobs in a row that helped me release a little bit of pressure, and I just focused on it for a couple weeks and got it done. And because I just was tired of it sitting there and looking at it every day.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts to have something unfinished.
I feel you, man. I have a
Yeah.
couple like things in the back of my head that I know right now I could probably work on later tonight, but I have other things that I need to do. But yeah, just like sitting there looking at them, or even just like writing it down, like as one of your goals, and then just not
Yeah.
being able to fucking cross it out. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, I start getting shaky, and I'm like, I gotta knock that out.
Oh,
And
yeah. I don't know if
Yeah,
I
but
know Joey and Lee. They just moved to that studio like a year or two ago, I think.
yes,
The latest one that they're at. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like another move might have to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like their studio is only that room, that one little room. So
I think the Fighter and the Kid moved again, and shit, I don't know. They might have pitched that fucking thing in the trash. You never know.
yeah,
Set it out for some scrap guy to scoop
fuck
up
that.
and
I doubt
trade
that.
in for some meth or something.
Nah. I don't see that. I don't see any of those dudes that know
I don't think so
Rogan
either.
doing that shit. Somebody's got that in their fucking basement.
No, Rogan. He messaged me. He said, he said, man, that thing will forever be a piece in the studio, and like that's
awesome.
cool enough for me. I think that's pretty neat.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It's a weird. Before the that connection and stuff and the podcast, because I don't know, like I went from him to like so many other podcasts after that, like listening to a bunch of
Yeah.
different shit. Like it's weird, like surrounding yourself. You know how they always say surrounding yourself with like like-minded people and like positive people like will get you further. That's kind of what we're all doing with these podcasts, because we're not really hanging out with people. We're hanging out with the people that we're listening to, but they are all, positive fucking motherfuckers. So
yeah.
it helps
I think
me out,
I listened to lately. I've had a few other like podcasts follow me on Instagram, and so I'll go check out their page and kind of see what they're about, and then I'll subscribe to their podcast and give them a listen. And I listened to one called the Badass Business Podcast, and man, I don't know, it's free, and she's got some pretty goddamn good information. And
yeah, dude. A lot of them have great shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know, like past that, I'm not sure what you're selling, but because she has some kind of thing that you can sign up for, and she's a business coach, and I feel like she let out like just about everything you need to know in the first podcast, and I'm like, this poor chick ain't never gonna make any money,
It's like
But,
Gary V.
Yeah, I guess you
ever hear that guy? He
yeah,
was on Rogan once, but,
saw him on Joe's, and then I think my stepson follows him, and my assistant apprentice Ryan,
he's an acquired
he
taste.
follows him too. That's kind of what I said. I mean, I love that somebody's energetic, but on Instagram it's like, man, it's really in your face, and it's like, I mean, I need motivated some days, but I don't know about that much.
I know, man. That's why I try to, whenever Joey goes on, I'm sure you've probably watched his Periscope little morning joints and shit.
Yeah.
Whenever he goes on there and does one, because he wasn't doing it like pretty often, like last year, like a couple times a week, but like this year it's just slowed down. I don't know, maybe he's just like not smoking as much, or I know he's fucking busy as shit, but whenever he goes on there, I gotta get on there and fucking do it, because a lot of the time, dude, it's like the first minute after he takes that first puff and turns the camera around, that's basically like what I'm taking, and I'm like trying to squeeze that first minute into something, because it's like he motivates you, even though he's like calling you a cocksucker and fucking it's hilarious.
Right.
I love it.
Right. Well, there's, if it works for you, then it works for you. That's the way I see it, is whatever it takes for you to get up and do something, or get your things done.
Yeah, it's weird. That's what I'm saying. Like comparing him to like Gary V is just like in your face. Like, I don't know, it's a different vibe, but it's the same.
To get out in the shop and work some nights, I'm like, gosh, do I really need a cup of coffee and some hot tamales and music and all these things for me to just get something done today? And then I started, man, if that's what it takes me to get some shit done today, then that's what it takes. And so I kind of started to embrace a little bit some of that process.
Yeah, and other things, not just listening to stuff, but like Like you said, I want to eat this, and I want to fucking bring this out.
Yep.
There, you know what I mean?
Yep. Well, yeah, I try not to eat too much crap, but the hot tamales are pretty hard to stay away from.
I thought you said pot. I thought you said pot tamales. I was
No,
like,
not pot
oh,
tamales.
hey,
No,
what's
sir.
up, dude?
You know, I
That
like
shit
to
ain't
keep
legal
my
out there, is
stocks.
it?
Yeah.
We're waiting.
We're in Missouri. All that stuff's illegal, sir.
Oh yes, it's not even
Yeah.
decriminalized there at all.
Not at all.
Oh, I
No.
feel
In fact,
for
if
you,
you
bro.
get caught with that kind of stuff here in the county, they'll
They'll
fucking
take you
have
right
you
the
up
fuck
behind bars. Yep.
Oh my god, dude.
Yep.
That's how I felt in Jersey. Like, I've been smoking since I was like 17, right? And I didn't get caught with it until I was 27. By doing something
By your
fucking
parents?
No. No. They knew. I was actually living back at home with them, but I was they knew that I smoked. But I fucking smoked in the parking lot of a fucking CVS with somebody, and somebody else that walked in saw and told somebody. They called the cops. My one friend left one way, I left the other way, and the cops followed me. It was fucking so stupid. And when I got arrested, the guy was like, it's gonna be legal soon, but we gotta do what we gotta do. I'm like, fuck, motherfucker.
Yeah.
After all this
He
time,
just said that to rub it in.
yeah, you're like, shut the fuck up, asshole. Like that's all I do. I don't even, like, you don't drink, you said? I don't fucking
I don't.
drink, eat. Like, I have a couple beers here and there, but what, like a Coors Light, maybe? I had like 5 Coors Lights at my cousin's wedding a couple weeks ago, and I was feeling good. But that's like the only time I've drank in the last fucking like 2 years. So when I get arrested for doing the one thing that fucking calms my anxiety and shit, I'm just like, fuck, man. I feel bad for I don't know if you smoke or care about that shit, but it's
No,
at least,
I don't care at all.
It's at least decriminalized here, or not even decriminalized. It's medically legal.
No, here, I mean, it's like it goes on the box and stuff like that. But I mean, here it's
You're like,
here.
fuck
It's
that shit. The devil's
Yep.
lettuce.
Johnny Longsleeves come out and get you. You're in trouble.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Things are gonna change. I feel like I really do feel like, with the way that it's being studied, being proven that it's like fucking basically curing cancer and shit. And all these states are going legal. It's gonna go legal federally at some point in the very near future, and hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think if it
Just-
goes legal, it's not going to be because of health. It's going to be because they want to make money on it, and that's
for sure. But I mean,
and yeah, so if they're going to do it on alcohol, they might as well do it on that as well, and tobacco and
yeah, dude, and trust me, like, and I was talking to the Marty. He does. He's from Drastic Graphics. He does the Fighter and the Kid stuff. He
yeah,
he was saying that once it does become, because it's legal in California all the way now, and before that happened, that's when I had him on. But he was like, dude, all these contacts I'm getting right now, I'm trying to work with all the new cannabis companies and shit like that. Like, there is so much work that will be done, like needed to be done when that happens, federally anyway. Like, I'm sure that you will find yourself doing more work for fucking people in the cannabis industry. Even though it's like, you got your niche thing, everything's going to be better at that time, I feel like,
Oh, I think
I don't know.
I think there'd be more money. Like Colorado blew up. I guess I'm not out there, but that's what everybody says.
Yeah, man. People are
when
going
they
to have
talk
more
about
money to buy fucking cool shit, you know what I mean?
the town I'm in now, Columbia, is really growing like crazy. They have the university here. They have great health care, and the football team, they're in the SEC. I'm not a sports guy or anything like that, and but there's constantly things going on in this town with construction and growing, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
That's cool, man. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town.
And you're
Beautiful
like
town.
watching it too. You've been there almost 10 years,
10 years, and it's I don't know by numbers how it's grown, but I used to get around town so much more a couple years ago doing all the installs of doors and countertops and windows and stuff, and now once in a while I'll shoot through across town to visit a client for something or other they may need built, and I'll be in an area I hadn't been in a while, and there's a whole subdivision built.
Damn.
With new $300,000-$400,000 homes planted here and there, which here that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money here too.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't own the house that we're in right now, so we're kind of like, you know what the deal is. Saving money. I still need to save for a ring and get married. Blah blah blah. All that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Love
I mean,
that.
it's a fucking, like you said, dude. I don't think we're ever gonna feel successful. It's always a work in progress, you know.
Yeah, if you see me drive around in a Tesla and I've got every damn tool that you could ever imagine in a
on your belt,
100 foot by 100 foot building, I might be able to say that I'm successful, but I just until that happens, I'm just gonna keep shooting for that.
Yeah, man. It's really, I think success is happiness, and I don't know. That's something hard to work on too. But I did actually hear Elon Musk when he was on there, on Rogan. The one thing that I fucking keep thinking about that he said when he was on there, besides all the other robotic stuff and smoking weed, was life. Wait, hold on. Happiness equals life minus expectations. I had to think about that one for a while.
I think I'm gonna have to think about that one for a while.
Happiness is life minus having expectations on how things should be. Like if I didn't fucking worry about shit all the time, I would be a little happier. I think. I guess it's like ignorance is bliss, but it's not really ignorant. You know what's going on.
Yeah, if you didn't worry about things, those things wouldn't get done either.
That's
I think
how I
like
feel.
a little
That's
bit
why
of
I'm
this anxiety this anxiety that we feel nowadays might be just that you need to get off your ass and do some things, and just a little bit of it. I'm not saying everybody or everything, but like for me, I spent my younger years going to school wondering why my stomach was upset every morning, or not every morning, but in the mornings, and then as I got older, I used to get excited for the weekends. It'd be Friday, I was so excited to go ride motorcycles and stuff like that with my friends, and I'd be and then like when I had a job, I would get anxiety on Monday mornings,
Yeah,
and
same here, dude.
Didn't know what it was. My stomach would be upset, and come to find out that if I just got my ass up out of bed and got to work, that I felt better. And so I think a little bit of that. Sometimes the anxiety is just telling you need to go do something or other, whatever it is on your mind.
Yeah, I get that with like having social anxiety sometimes too. I feel like I don't feel like going out, but once I get out, I'm all right. Like
yeah,
I don't even I don't have to have a fucking drink to be social with people, but just the fact that I'm actually in the environment with them, it's like it totally changes
I get that
things.
with projects.
Yeah.
There'd be projects, building something new every time for a client, and like for example, like a bakery case that I built about a year ago for a lady. I've never built one before, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to do it. I did a drawing on it, but it just wasn't quite in my head. And I learned to sit down and actually draw and sketch and actually work towards it. Mm-hmm. And once I started doing, actually putting the work in, those worries start to go away, and
yeah.
And so what I've learned is you just got to get started one way or the other, whether it's, turning on the bandsaw or if it's sitting down and trying to capture that idea on paper.
Yep.
It's super important to just get fucking started.
Just be there, get there. Yeah.
Yep.
I totally fucking get that, dude. I feel the same exact way sometimes when I'm I have an idea for a picture to make. And I'm like, fuck, how the hell am I going to do that, man? I don't even want to try and Google these things because I don't know I'm not going to find the right shit. And I put it off. And the whole time I put it off, I'm fucking stressing. But then as soon as I open my phone up and I fucking go to Google, bam, I'm just like in the zone. You got a point.
I have a theory that if you, you got to fling shit at the wall to see if it'll stick. and and if you don't fucking fling it, you'll just never know. And that doesn't mean like you reach down and you just start paddling shit at the wall, but like reach down, grab a good hold of that son of a bitch, and fling it. But if like I said, if you don't stick your hands down in there, you're just never gonna know if you can do it or not.
Yeah. Fucking A, dude. Take a chance, right? Columbus did.
I guess. Yeah.
That's what Joey says. I don't fucking know. He didn't take that big of a chance. I don't fucking know. Dude, that's awesome, man. Dude, thanks for giving me your time, dude. We've been talking about
Hey,
an
no
hour
problem.
now. I'm sure you
really?
I'm sure you got shit to do.
Yeah, I think Better Call Saul,
Yeah.
the 5th episode's on, so.
Nice. Well, at midnight, Strange Times is on Netflix, so you can fucking
Oh, really?
stay up and watch that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Or just watch it
Ozark
in the morning
came
as
out.
soon as you get up.
When Ozark came out, I mean, it literally, I was sitting on Netflix waiting for it to just pop up.
Really?
And then as soon as it did, damn near. And then I just watched like every episode that weekend. I killed it all in one
Holy
weekend.
shit.
I just got it over with.
Dude, I watched like 3 of the first season, and I haven't been able to get back and watch. I haven't been able to watch anything lately, man. It sucks. I should turn.
Yeah,
I need
I
to
get
get
it.
my other phone out and just put that up on Netflix while I'm making shit on my other phone, because that's how I do things.
Well, I haven't opened it really since, so.
Well, you got it done. You got it out of the way.
Yeah, I just had to get it over with. I knew I was going to be too many late nights watching it, so I just burned it up on one weekend.
And now you can just work during the day and listen to
Right.
Joe Rogan
Now
talk
I feel
about
like
it.
I accomplished something.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you very much. Everybody can reach you at Russell Bilt, BILT, on social media, correct?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
man.
RussellBuilt.com is my website. Other than that, Russell Built anywhere.
Awesome, brother. Thank you very much, and have a great evening, brother.
You too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
Bye.
I'll post everything, and I'll tag you tomorrow.